It's getting hard to remember what the world looked like without a couple of feet of snow. For me, the first sign of spring is the Buffalo Midge Hatch on the Provo River. With over 3 feet of snow still on the ground, the Provo is well within winter's grasp. I had a few free hours, so I decided to head out and see if I could see any signs of the Buffalo Midge Hatch. Snowshoes still weren't optional. I walked a couple of miles along the Provo, stopping at my favorite holes, looking for signs of life. While I'm sure there was plenty of subsurface activity, there didn't seem to be anything going on the surface. However, there was plenty going on around me. Fortunately, I saw these deer bedded down before they saw me. With the snow as deep as it is, they're really struggling this year. I sat and watched for a minute, and then I worked a big loop around them so they wouldn't feel any need to run away from me. Once they couldn't see me anymore, then they slowly moved to another area. The deer tracks in the area plainly showed that they were breaking through the snow with every step. It's hard going. As I worked my way down the river, I came across the first casualties of the day. I'm not sure where these bees came from. There were a couple dozen of them scattered on the top of the snow. We'd had some fierce winds the day before. I can't imagine why these bees would have been out when highs are still below freezing. But they were, and they paid the ultimate price. Every bend of the river seemed to hold waterfowl. After a winter of being chased by hunters, they would begrudgingly leave as I approached. However, you could tell they were tired and not too eager to leave to find another place to rest. The hunters are still out and about looking for a meal, as these bobcat tracks attest. At last, in my favorite hole, I came across the first signs of life. These hardy insects weren't letting the snow or ice deter them. You wouldn't think such small insects would get the trout excited, but for whatever reason, trout will often rise for hours, consistently sipping these insects off the surface. Typically, my best luck has been with something that imitates a ball of these insects on the surface of the water, like a Griffith's gnat. These fish certainly were enjoying the afternoon hatch. However, it wasn't as vigorous as it will be in a month or so. I put on a fly and made a few casts. I had one fish rise, but it rejected it at the last minute. After a couple more casts, pretty much all the surface activity stopped. I didn't try very hard either. Everything's had such a tough winter this year, I felt almost guilty interrupting their dinner time. As I packed up and headed home, I came across this deer that was out browsing. Once she got behind cover, she pretty much stopped running, just watched me to see what I would do. I kept on walking. As I headed home, I came across the final casualty of the day. This little mouse, for whatever reason, didn't make it. Winter's a tough time of year. As I followed my tracks home, I couldn't help but think that all the animals along the Provo were asking the same question I've been asking for the last couple of weeks. When will winter end?